What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. Today, it is finally time for the Week 19 Premier League predictions, and I do want to give a massive shout out to the new members of the Full 90 Members Club, the TF90 Super Tipsters, Nico Cool 2001 and Joe Astfalk, for joining the Members Club along with all the other members. We actually had two accumulator winners in one post, the Premier League accumulator and the double up accumulator, where I'm sure if the members got on it, would have got back their membership fee and then some. So massive shout out to all the new members and all the support on the channel. Please do drop a like and subscribe, because we're getting very close to 20,000 subscribers. A quick shout out also to Venom Tips, who left their prediction on the previous video, and they actually managed to predict the 0-0 draw between Wolves and Chelsea. I saw it as a possibility, but I actually went with the 1-0 Chelsea win in the end, so I thought that was a very good call. Speaking of last week, we did manage to absolutely nail the Man City game with a 4-0 Man City win and Manchester City to win both halves. We also had Arsenal to win and both teams to score. The Arsenal game was actually included in the Premier League accumulator that we did win for the members. So without further ado, let's get on to the Week 19 Boxing Day and 27th of December fixtures. And by all accounts, it looks like all of these games will be going ahead, because all the clubs that had big games postponed due to COVID outbreaks, illness and that sort of thing, they would have had a long enough time to recover with their postponed games. And all the clubs that did play seem to have next to no COVID issues. Obviously Leeds had injury issues, but you can't call off Premier League games due to injury issues if you can field a squad of any sort. So I'm very excited for these fixtures. I'm excited to have a full day back of football, and I've got some cool tips for you as well. So kicking it off, we do have Liverpool up against Leeds, and find value at your peril. It is going to be very difficult. However, Liverpool should still have their front three, and they've been absolutely firing. Obviously, everyone talks about Salah. I think Mane is a class player, but he's definitely been overshadowed by Salah and Diogo Jota, who scored in the League Cup quarterfinals in an absolutely scintillating game between Liverpool and Leicester. So I'm going to go for a high-scoring Liverpool win here. I'm going to go for a 4-1 win, because I think Virgil van Dijk will be out, and they do have one goal conceded in them, Liverpool. And Leeds, I think they should be able to score. They managed to score against Arsenal, and it was a penalty. They deserved the goal, I guess, in that sense, and they couldn't score against Man City, even though they did have a few chances in that 7-0 loss. But I think Leeds are good for a goal, because they know Liverpool are going to score at Anfield. They have to try and score. That's right up Leeds' street, and they'll be open at the back. There'll be lots of goals. So I'm going for the 4-1 win. In case it's 4-0 and Leeds don't score, my tip is Liverpool win and over 3.5 goals at 1.72. Obviously, the worst outcome in terms of that tip would be a 3-0 win to Liverpool. You could, if you do really think Leeds are going to score, and I do, but I don't know if I'd be willing to put money on it, you could go for Liverpool to win and both teams to score. You'd have a much better value there. After that, we have Wolves up against Watford. This is going to be a very low-scoring game. Wolves are a better team than Watford, but they've been one of the most toothless teams in front of goal this season. It's only thanks to their really solid defence and their new goalkeeper, of course, that was signed to replace Rui Patricio, Jose Sarr. He's been really good this season. I think Wolves are going to win this game, but I don't see Wolves scoring more than one goal with the sort of attacking threat they've posed this season. Obviously not being very attacking at all, but they've been very defensively sound. Watford haven't kept a clean sheet all season. They're the only team not to do so. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 Wolves win, just in case this ends in a 1-1 draw or a 0-0 draw, where obviously tipping a Wolves win would fail. My tip is going to be very safe. Wolves double chance and under 3.5 goals. That's just Wolves not to lose, and it be under 4 goals. So it could be 3-0 to Wolves, it could be 2-1 to Wolves, it could be 1-1, it could be 0-0, 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, all of that. Wolves double chance and under 3.5 goals at 1.57. I think that's a good little accumulator booster. I mean, if that, for that not to come in, Watford would have to win, which I highly doubt given Wolves' defence, or Wolves have to go nuts and there has to be 4 or more goals in the game, which is so unlikely. So I think that looks pretty good. After that, we have Burnley up against Everton. Burnley losing only one game in their last 7 fixtures, but drawing most of them. Everton, just other than their win against Arsenal, having a very poor run of form. So I think this is going to be a close game. Burnley don't lose many games. They don't win many games, so it looks like a draw to me. I think they might have Maxwell Cornet back, and I think Burnley will be able to get a goal at Turf Moor, because they don't want to keep getting 0-0 draws or anything like that. So I'm going to go for a 1-1. And my tip, both teams to score at 1.95. I think that's a pretty good tip, and I could very much see it coming in case we have one of those freak games where it's like 3-3, or like when Everton lost to Watford 5-2, I think it was. Both teams to score would be handsome in that, and it's 1.95. After that, Man City up against Leicester. Manchester City absolutely smashing it, coming off the back of a 7-0 win against Leeds and a 4-0 win against Newcastle. They didn't even really try. They didn't have to try against Newcastle. They're a cut above. I think the congested fixture period hurts Man City less than every other team due to their strength in depth. So I'm going to go for a Manchester City win here, but I actually predicted this scoreline before the League Cup where Leicester drew 3-3 with Liverpool, but you can see Leicester's squad is starting to come back to fitness. They played more or less a first team, to be honest, in that League Cup, and I think they will have enough to score against Manchester City. And Leicester do have a decent record against Manchester City compared to most other teams, so I'm going to go for a high-scoring game. I'm just going to go 4-2 to Manchester City. Could be 5-1, could be 8-3. You just never know, but I'm going to go for a 4-2 win to Man City, and my tip is Manchester City to win and both teams to score at 2.75. The only way I see this not coming in is if Man City win like 4 or 5-0. I just do really think I'd be more certain on Leicester scoring against Man City than Leeds against Liverpool. That's the way I look at it. Now, after that, we have Norwich up against Arsenal. Norwich haven't played in a little bit, and Arsenal have been playing. They've been looking really good. They managed to beat Sunderland 5-1 in the League Cup. It was a brilliant performance. Eddie Nketiah absolutely shines in the League Cup. He scored more goals in the Cup than he has games played. He's just that kind of player against the lower opposition, I guess. But I think given Arsenal's defence this season, I cannot understate how impressed I've been with Gabriel, Ben White, Tomiyasu. I don't know if Tomiyasu is going to play. I think he's got a slight injury doubt. Ramsdale in goal, of course. It just looks solid, and Arsenal look a better team. And Tierney has come back, and he's playing as well as he always has been. So I'm going to go for a clean sheet here. Norwich rarely score goals. They struggle to score in the majority of their games. So I'm just going to go for a 2-0 away win to Arsenal, and my tip is Arsenal to win 2-0 at 2.3. After that, we have Tottenham up against Crystal Palace. Tottenham coming off the back of a win against West Ham in the League Cup, and Crystal Palace, they haven't played in a little while. So I'm going to go for a Tottenham home win here. They looked fresher against Liverpool, and they obviously got the win in the League Cup. I think Tottenham, they're a real shout for top four, given their COVID situation. One sort of negative of that, I guess, is that they forfeited their match against Rennes in the Europa Conference League. So now the advantage Arsenal have with regards to the top four race not being in Europe, Tottenham have the exact same advantage. They've got, if they win all their games in hand, they do go out and out into the top four. They're a decent squad now that they're coming back to full fitness. Harry Kane's back on the score sheet. Son looks good as always. And they don't have European football to play. So keep an eye on Tottenham Hotspur. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Tottenham against Palace. But Crystal Palace, they've served up some surprises. I think back to the 2-2 draw with Arsenal. I think back to the 2-0 win against Manchester City. I think they are good for a goal. And I think Tottenham are good for conceding one. I'm going to go for that 2-1 win to Tottenham. My tip is both teams to score at 1.8 in case it ends 1-1 or 2-2 and Tottenham don't get the result people expect. After that, we have West Ham up against Southampton. Southampton hadn't played for a little bit as well. Obviously, West Ham played in the League Cup, but their main strength, full strength team hasn't had a Premier League game in a little while. I'm going to back the Hammers for a home win here. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to West Ham. It could be 2-0, could be 1-0, but my tip is actually going to be over 10.5 or over 10 corners at 1.9. So Southampton actually have a very decent corner record in the Premier League. West Ham have also not been too bad, and I think they're very physical, both these teams. I think they like to, when they're defending in the box, they'll head it, they'll clear it, they'll get it out, put it out of danger, and I think we will see corners in this game because they like to whip crosses in, and I think we will see a lot of corners in this game. So over 10 corners at 1.9, it means you're not looking at the scoreline, you're not looking at the result, just the rough narrative of the game. We're averaging a corner, just more than one corner every 10 minutes, and it's very easy to get 3 corners in a row. When you have the first corner, it gets headed clear, there's another one. It's very easy to have a little clump, and all of a sudden you're looking very, very good for that tip at 1.9. After that, we have Aston Villa up against Chelsea. This is difficult to predict. Chelsea have been wobbling. Aston Villa have looked fairly solid. Obviously, they didn't play their game against Burnley, but they did beat Norwich 2-0. They looked pretty decent. Chelsea beat Brentford 2-0 in the League Cup with 2 late goals. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Chelsea win. It's so difficult to not back Chelsea here in terms of a prediction because Aston Villa have come up short. This will be the third of the top 3 teams this year that they've played under Steven Gerrard, and they lost the other 2. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Chelsea, but my tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.95. Chelsea have been conceding goals. in their recent fixtures haven't looked quite as solid with their midfield issues. So I think Aston Villa will back themselves to score a goal, but I am going to go for a Chelsea win in the end. After that, it's Brighton up against Brentford. Now, this game seems to be very weirdly priced. It favours Brighton to win at 1.9. I don't see that happening, given Brighton haven't won in so long. They don't win many games. And Brentford, I mean, in their 2-1 win against Watford, the comeback ability was awesome. They looked great. I predicted they'd win 2-1 in that game, and they were worthy winners of that. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Couple of tips here. You've got Brentford double chance at 1.83. So Brentford to win or draw at 1.83. And if you're more certain on the draw, you can back that as well at 3.5, which would be a tip of mine. I think Brentford double chance at 1.83, that's obscene odds. And it does allow for a Brentford win, which I do think is possible, but you could also back the draw at 3.5. And the final game on the 27th, Newcastle up against Manchester United. I said when Newcastle were about to play Burnley, before they got their first win, I said if they didn't beat Burnley, they wouldn't get a win until the year 2022. Luckily, they did beat Burnley, but they have since lost every other game like I predicted. They've got Man United here and then Everton soon to come after. Both games, I think maybe against Everton they'll have a chance, but they're not going to beat this Manchester United side. United haven't played in a long time. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win. I can see Newcastle getting a goal. It just strikes me as the type of United thing to happen. Newcastle maybe score first, like with the Newcastle-Liverpool game, to be honest. But I think I think Man United will have enough to win this game. I'm going to stay away from the result in case we see a freak St. James's miracle and see a 2-1 Newcastle win or something like that, a 2-2 draw, 3-3. My tip is going to be over 2.5 goals at 1.6. So that is going to do it for the Boxing Day fixtures. I'll have another video for you in a few days, around the 27th, 28th, something like that. So please do like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of the videos, and drop your comments down below if you want a chance to be featured in the next episode. That is going to do it from me, and I will see you in that next video very soon.